There comes a point in every man's life when the changes happening inside begin to show on the outside, slowly, quietly, and often unnoticed until the consequences are already at the door. After 60, the signs of aging do not always scream. They whisper. They appear not in the dramatic events we expect, but in subtle shifts, small losses, quiet changes that betray the truth. Time is catching up. But here's the truth most men don't hear. Aging well is not about stopping time. It's about recognizing the signs early, acting with wisdom, and making choices that preserve your strength, dignity, and independence. And that begins with awareness. Because the earlier you notice, the more control you still have. Before we go any further, let me ask you to take one small but vital action. If you value your health, your clarity, and your power to age on your own terms, then please click the like button and subscribe to this channel. Here, we speak honestly, man to man, about what it truly takes to live fully beyond 60. Today, we're going to reveal 4 subtle changes that many older men ignore. Changes that quietly reveal your true biological age, regardless of how old you are on paper. These aren't about wrinkles or gray hair. These are deeper, more telling. They speak of what's happening under the surface. And if you miss them, you risk falling into decline without ever knowing what hit you. Let me ask you something. Have you looked in the mirror recently and noticed something different? Something you couldn't quite explain? Have you felt your energy shift, your posture change, your motivation fade just a little bit more each week? Most men don't talk about these things. They endure them. They blame stress, work, or the weather. But these quiet changes are messengers. They are your body's early reports, warning you of what's slipping away and what can still be reclaimed. And if you've told yourself that this is just part of getting older, I challenge you to reconsider. Yes, aging is natural, but decline is not mandatory. There are signs that show you when to intervene before it's too late. Over the next few minutes, we're going to explore 4 critical indicators that reveal how fast you're really aging. These aren't signs to fear. They're signs to respect, because every one of them gives you a window of opportunity, a chance to take back control of your body, your mind, your life. Stay with me. The first sign we're going to talk about may seem small, almost irrelevant, but for men over 60, it's one of the most accurate predictors of long-term vitality and independence. And if you've overlooked it, you may already be surrendering years of strength without realizing it. Your body is speaking. It's time to listen with wisdom, not fear. The first subtle change that reveals your true age, often before any lab test does, is a noticeable loss of grip strength. You might not think much of it at first. Maybe you struggle to open a stubborn jar. Maybe the handshake that once felt firm and confident now feels weak, hesitant. Or maybe you simply find yourself dropping objects more often, struggling to twist a doorknob, or noticing a slight tremble when holding something for too long. But this isn't just about your hands. It's about what your body is telling you about your entire system. Grip strength is not just a matter of muscles. It is a reflection of your nervous system, cardiovascular health, and muscular integrity. In fact, recent medical studies have identified grip strength as one of the strongest predictors of overall mortality in older adults. That's right. Your grip can say more about your future than your blood pressure or even your cholesterol. If you're realizing just how important this is, and you want to keep learning how to protect your body as you age, then take a moment now to like this video and subscribe. These truths are not commonly taught, but they are deeply needed. Now let's dive deeper. Why does grip strength matter so much? Because it reflects what's happening beneath the surface. As testosterone levels drop and muscle fibers weaken with age, your body begins to lose not just size and mass, but function. And that loss of function shows up first in the hands. Your hands are intricate tools. They require coordination between nerves, blood flow, and muscle groups working in harmony. When something starts to decline, whether it's cardiovascular endurance, metabolic control, or neural function, your grip often shows it first. Let me ask you, when was the last time you squeezed something with real force? Picked up a heavy pan with one hand? Opened a tightly sealed bottle without thinking twice? If these tasks have become slower, shakier, or more frustrating. That's not just aging, it's early decline. And it's reversible, but only if you act soon. Loss of grip strength is also tied directly to your risk of falls. As men age, falls become one of the leading causes of injury and death. Why? Because your body's balance and coordination depend on more than just your legs. Your hands are critical in catching yourself, stabilizing movement, and performing daily activities safely. A weak grip means reduced reaction time and less ability to protect yourself in a split second. Beyond that, grip strength correlates with independence. When you lose hand strength, you start to depend on others. You hesitate before lifting groceries. You struggle with buttons. You fear carrying your own bag or steadying yourself in the shower. It may begin with frustration, but it ends in dependency if left unchecked. And yet, very few men over 60 pay attention to this sign. They train their arms, maybe their legs, but they forget their hands, the foundation of strength, safety, and control. The solution? Begin to restore what's been lost. Use hand grips. Squeeze a stress ball daily. Do light farmer's carries with grocery bags. Practice opening jars and twisting caps intentionally. These simple actions rebuild not just your muscles, but your confidence. And that confidence spills over into every area of your life. Imagine walking into a room and knowing your handshake is still strong, that you can still lift what you need, that your body hasn't given up on you because you haven't given up on it. Grip strength is not a detail. It is not a footnote. It is a window into the future you're building, or the one you're surrendering to without realizing. Stay with me, because in the next part, we'll explore another sign of aging that most men misunderstand completely. It's not physical. It's something that affects how you think, decide, and lead. And if you miss it, it will quietly erode your legacy from the inside out. The second subtle change that reveals a man's true biological age is not seen in the mirror or felt in the muscles. It is noticed in decisions, reactions, and clarity. It is the slow but steady decline in mental sharpness, what many refer to simply as brain fog. For a man over 60, forgetting a name here and there isn't unusual. But what happens when the fog creeps in more often? When conversations feel harder to follow, when decision-making becomes slower, when you walk into a room and forget why you're there, not once, but several times a day. This isn't just about aging. It's about whether your mind is staying sharp enough to lead, to protect, to remain truly independent. And here's the truth most men don't hear. Mild cognitive decline is not inevitable. It's not something you must accept as just getting older. It is a warning, a sign that your brain may be starved of what it needs to thrive: oxygen, nutrients, stimulation, and rest. If this insight resonates with you, if you feel it's time to take ownership of your mental future, then I ask you again to like this video and subscribe. These truths aren't being talked about in doctors' offices often enough, but here, we make them known. What causes brain fog in older men? Many things, and most of them are preventable. Poor sleep, a common issue after 60, deprives the brain of its chance to clear toxins and reset. Chronic inflammation, often from processed foods or undiagnosed health conditions, slows down neural communication. Low testosterone and declining hormones can sap not just strength, but memory and drive. Even medications, yes, the same prescriptions intended to help you, can dull your cognitive edge. Antihistamines, sleep aids, blood pressure meds, and antidepressants can all have subtle effects on the mind. They accumulate, and one day, you realize you're not as sharp as you used to be, and you don't know when it started. Let me ask you, have you struggled to concentrate lately? Do you find yourself rereading paragraphs, zoning out during conversations, feeling mentally slower even after rest? These are not minor annoyances. They are alerts. And just like with grip strength, these changes are not irreversible, but they must be acknowledged early. Mental decline, even in its mild form, is one of the strongest predictors of future dependence. Men who ignore it often lose not just memory, but the ability to manage finances, advocate for their health, or even live alone. The erosion of independence begins in the mind, quietly, without pain, without visible scars. And that's what makes it so dangerous. So what can you do? First, protect your sleep like your life depends on it, because it does. Block out light. Shut off screens an hour before bed. Let your mind slow down before you expect it to rest. Second, feed your brain. Omega-3s from fish, antioxidants from berries, and B vitamins all help restore neural health. Hydration is critical, so is physical movement. Exercise doesn't just strengthen the body, it grows new brain cells, especially in the hippocampus, the region responsible for memory. Third, challenge your brain. Read something difficult, learn a new skill, play strategy games, engage in real conversations, not just scrolling. Mental atrophy comes from disuse. Fight it with action. And finally, evaluate your medications. Talk to your doctor. Ask hard questions. What are these pills doing to your mind? Are there better alternatives? You deserve to know. Imagine living with clarity again, waking up with focus, making sharp, confident decisions, holding conversations without embarrassment, following through on plans without confusion. Mental sharpness is not a luxury. It is a pillar of manhood, leadership, and self-respect. You've lived too long, fought too hard, and built too much to let it all slip away quietly under the fog of inattention. Stay with me, because in the next part, we're going to uncover a change that's visible on the outside but speaks volumes about what's failing inside. And if you ignore it, you may already be letting the clock run faster than it needs to. This is not about chasing youth. It's about defending strength. Every sign matters, especially the ones you were never told to look for. The third subtle change that reveals your true biological age is a shift in your posture and gait, the way you stand, walk, and carry yourself each day. Most men never notice it happening. One day, you stand a little less straight. You walk a little more slowly. You hesitate at the stairs, or you catch yourself leaning forward slightly without knowing why. Maybe your stride shortens, or your steps become less confident. And you think, it's just stiffness, or I didn't sleep well last night. But these quiet, physical shifts are far more than stiffness. They are signs of underlying deterioration that cannot be ignored. Your posture and gait are some of the most honest reflections of your internal health. They reveal the strength of your spine, the resilience of your muscles, the coordination of your nervous system, and even the sharpness of your mind. When these begin to falter, it is not just a cosmetic change. It is a warning that your foundation is weakening. And that's why I urge you, once again, if you value this kind of truth, if you want to stay vigilant and prepared as you age, take a moment now to like this video and subscribe. These messages are not fear tactics. They are armor, truthful tools to help you live better, stronger, longer. Let's talk about the consequences of declining posture. A hunched or stooped stance is often the first visible sign of muscle loss, particularly in the back and core. As testosterone and growth hormone decline with age, men tend to lose lean muscle mass, a condition known as sarcopenia. But it doesn't just make you weaker. It pulls your body forward, destabilizes your balance, and changes your center of gravity. With that comes slower gait, shorter steps, and higher risk of falls, one of the leading causes of injury and death in men over 60. And if you've ever known someone who suffered a fall that led to hospitalization, you know how quickly life can change. But there's more. Posture affects organ function. A slumped chest restricts breathing. It compresses the lungs and diaphragm, leading to lower oxygen intake and fatigue. Poor posture also slows digestion, contributes to acid reflux, and reduces circulation. You may feel tired after simple activities, not because you're old, but because your body is working twice as hard to function in an unnatural position. And your gait, how you move, has a direct line to your brain. Studies have shown that a slowed walking speed is one of the strongest early predictors of cognitive decline. Yes, how fast you walk can reveal what's happening in your brain. Let me ask you now, when was the last time you walked briskly across a room without effort? When was the last time you noticed how upright you were standing, or whether your shoulders were back or slouched? These questions matter more than you might think. Poor posture and altered gait often go unaddressed until it's too late. Men lose inches in height, shuffle instead of stride, and begin to feel old, not because of age, but because the body is slowly collapsing inward. But it's not irreversible. With consistent attention, you can rebuild what time has tried to take. You can retrain your posture through simple stretching, daily walking, strengthening your core, and engaging your glutes and upper back with light resistance training. You can improve your balance through stability exercises, Tai Chi, or even yoga designed for men over 60. It doesn't require hours in the gym or painful workouts. It requires consistency, attention, and a refusal to accept decline as inevitable. Imagine walking into a room again with your head held high, your shoulders firm, your step light. Not because you're pretending to be younger, but because your body is truly supporting you again. That kind of strength cannot be bought. It must be built. And it starts with noticing these changes before they become limitations. Your posture is not just a physical stance. It is a message to the world and to yourself about how you are aging and how much fight you still have left. Stay with me, because in the next part, we're going to explore the final sign. It's not in the muscles or the mind, but in a man's motivation, his fire, his will, his drive. When that begins to fade, everything else follows. This is the most dangerous sign of all, because it hides in silence. The fourth and most dangerous sign of aging in men over 60 is the quiet decline in drive, when the fire inside begins to dim. This is not something that can be measured with a scale, a blood test, or a stopwatch. It does not show up in X-rays or physical exams, but you feel it in your decisions, in your mornings, in your lack of urgency, purpose, or desire to reach for more. And let me be clear, this is not about ambition or ego. It's about vitality, about the force that makes a man get up with conviction, the inner motor that drives you to fix what's broken, to plan what's next, to protect what you love, and to keep showing up when life gets heavy. When that motor begins to sputter, when you find yourself going through the motions without joy, without intensity, without direction, your age is catching up with you faster than you realize. If these words resonate with you, if you know deep down that your fire has cooled more than it should, pause right now, like this video, and subscribe. Because what we're about to explore could very well be the moment your fire reignites. This decline in motivation doesn't always look dramatic. It starts in small ways. You stop doing what once excited you. Hobbies fade. Projects remain unfinished. Conversations become shorter. You sleep more, or less, but never feel fully rested. You say, "I'm just tired," or "maybe next week," but the weeks keep passing. And here's what no one tells you. The loss of drive is not just emotional, it is biological. As testosterone declines, so does dopamine, the chemical responsible for motivation, focus, and reward. Your brain's circuits shift. The things that once thrilled you now feel distant or dull. And without action, this becomes a dangerous spiral. You stop moving. You stop challenging yourself. Your world shrinks. And soon, the body follows the mind into decline. This is how men disappear while still breathing. Let me ask you, when was the last time you felt deeply alive? When was the last time you tackled something difficult just to prove to yourself that you still could? When did you last feel that old sense of challenge, of intensity, of pride? If you can't remember, then this is your call to return. And you must return, because once drive goes, everything else follows. Muscle shrinks, mind dulls, relationships grow distant. The world seems to fade, not because of age, but because the engine that once powered your life has gone quiet. But here's the truth no one can take from you. Drive can be reignited. You do not need to feel like a younger man to move like one. You need a mission, a reason, a goal. It can be something small, walking 3 miles a day, fixing something in the house, reading a book a week, learning something new, or something bigger, mentoring a younger man, building something lasting, healing a strained relationship. The mind and body respond to purpose. When a man decides that his story isn't over, his body begins to catch up. Hormones respond. Brain chemistry changes. Posture shifts. Clarity returns. And no, it won't happen all at once. But it begins the moment you say, I refuse to disappear. Imagine waking up with a plan again. Imagine walking with purpose, not just pace. Speaking with intention. Setting an example, not because you have to, but because it's in your blood to lead. You are not done. You are not past your prime. You are simply in a different chapter. And in this chapter, drive is not about proving something to the world. It's about proving to yourself that your life still has direction. Stay with me now, because in the final conclusion, I will show you how these 4 signs come together to reveal the truth about aging, and more importantly, how to fight back. Not with fear, not with regret, but with the fierce clarity of a man who refuses to fade quietly. The mirror doesn't define your age. Your choices do. You've now heard the truth, not the sugar-coated version, not the polite advice whispered in a waiting room, but the raw, clear, vital truth about the 4 subtle changes that reveal your true age as a man over 60. Grip strength, mental sharpness, posture and gait, internal drive. These are not just signs. They are signals. Signals of whether you are aging with strength or surrendering to quiet decline. And what makes these signs dangerous is that they don't scream. They whisper. They show up in small moments. When your hand trembles as you twist off a cap. When you forget a detail mid-sentence. When you hesitate at the top of the stairs. When you wake up and feel no urgency to do anything at all. But let me tell you something you need to hear right now. None of this means you're weak. None of this means it's too late. These signs are not a sentence. They are an invitation. An invitation to act while you still can. To reclaim what's fading before it disappears. To lead your body and mind, instead of waiting for them to lead you into frailty. You have a choice. You can keep brushing these signs aside, calling them normal, laughing them off, pretending they don't matter. Or you can meet them head-on, with the same resolve that got you through decades of challenges, disappointments, victories, and hard-won lessons. This isn't about clinging to youth. It's about honoring your future. You still have time. Time to rebuild your grip. Time to sharpen your mind. Time to stand taller. Time to feel that fire in your chest again. But you must decide. No one else will do it for you. And if you felt something stirring inside you during this video, if something in your chest has tightened or your jaw has set with quiet conviction, then I ask you one last time. Like this video and subscribe to this channel. Because what we're building here isn't just a collection of information. It's a brotherhood of men who refuse to fade quietly, who reject the lie that aging means giving up, who believe that clarity, strength, leadership, and energy belong to us not just in our 30s, but in our 60s, 70s, and beyond. So what do you do now? You start with one thing. Test your grip. Walk with purpose. Pick up a book that stretches your mind. Wake up tomorrow with a mission, even a small one, and see how your body responds. The smallest step forward today becomes the momentum that carries you into a stronger tomorrow. Do not wait for the perfect plan. Do not wait for motivation to strike. Decide now, while this truth is fresh in your mind, that you are not done yet, that you are not invisible, that you still lead your family, your choices, your body, your future. You know the signs. You see them now. The question is, what will you do about them? Because the man who notices is already one step ahead of the man who doesn't. Until next time, stand tall, think clearly, act deliberately, and remember, your age is not your number. Your age is your command.